Hello, my name is Bree, and I'm here to help you study for your Salesforce admin exam. I created these study questions for myself when I was studying, and I decided to share them with the people of YouTube. I've taken most of these questions from practice tests that I take on Trailblazer and Trailhead, so I'm very confident in these questions, but I want to stress don't memorize the answers, but how we got to the answers, because that's what's most important. If you just memorize the answers, the questions change on the test, but not the information that you need to know. So let's get started. Zelda's widget sells through many different reseller networks. Each reseller's deals are tracked on separate opportunities. The sales manager is concerned that the pipeline report is inaccurate due to multiple opportunities for the same end customer. How should the sales process be modified to ensure opportunities are not double counted in the pipeline? So, the first one is change the forecast category to omitted on the duplicate opportunities. That is a thing, so we're going to keep that in mind that is something we can do. Enable duplicate management to prevent the creation of duplicate opportunities. Well, duplicate rules would not help omit duplicate opportunities, so that's not a thing. So we know that B is not a thing. So C, create an opportunity and use the competitors related list to track the different resellers. Well, competitors will not help track resellers. They're two totally separate things. Change the amount of duplicate opportunity to 0. That is not a thing. So we're going to go with A, change the forecast category to be omitted on duplicate opportunities. Let's see. And we are correct. It's changed the forecast category to omitted on duplicate opportunities. And we got that because we figured out the other answers did not fit or would not work or weren't even real things. Zelda's widgets created a new custom object to track inventory items. The support team cannot see the inventory objects tab. Which two settings should the system administrator check to find the cause of the problems? Choose two. So the first option we have is inventory object sharing settings. 2 is support team permission sets. 3, support team profiles. D, inventory object page layouts. So we know through our studies and through all the modules and everything we learned about Salesforce that if you want to be able to see something, you need to have the correct profile and the correct permission sets. So the sharing setting, that won't help. And inventory object page layouts. So page layouts do not determine who can see what, it's just what's on the page. So it would definitely be permission sets and profiles. Get very familiar with permission sets and profiles. And let's see if we are correct. So we were correct, and we were correct. Support representatives at Zelda's widgets want the same technical engineer group to be associated with each new case. What should a system administrator define to implement this requirement? So they really like these technical engineers, so we want to make sure that they get the same technical engineers every time. So we have these couple of options: a default case team on each account record, a case assignment rule to associate to a case team, a default case team on each user record, a workflow rule to add a case team. So let's think about this one for a second. Default case teams, so 1, provide access to records, assignments, and rules, and automate support process and create case teams to help groups of people work together to solve cases, right? B, an assignment rule to associate a case team. Well, that might work. So that's a pretty good choice. A default case team on each user's record. Well, yeah, that's not a thing. Default case teams provide access to records, right? And then a workflow rule to add a case team. So assignment rules and workflow rules support the process, and they create the case teams to help groups of people work together to solve cases. So I'm going to go with B. A case assignment rule would be correct, because then every time this case is assigned to this group, it also goes to the same technical engineer. So let's see if we are correct. And we are. A sales manager recently left Zelda's, and the Salesforce admin has received an urgent request to deactivate the username. Because the sales manager was part of several approval processes, it is taking longer than expected. What should the Salesforce admin do? Freeze the user record, change the user email address, reset the user password, change their user profile. Well, the problems with a couple of these are changing the user's email address does not change the user's login information and will not prevent them from logging into their account. It won't. So it's going to do nothing. Resetting the password will prompt the user to reset their own password, and so they'll just reset their own password and get back into their account. Changing the user's profile changes the user's access and settings, not their login information or access. So the only way to get around this while you're trying to take them out of approval processes and things like that, you got to freeze the record. And we are correct. At Zelda's Widgets, sales representatives use a custom report type for account reports. New fields have been created on the account object. An administrator needs to report on the newly created fields. What should the administrator do to achieve this goal? A. Form the custom report type, edit the layout, and then add the new fields to the report. B. Create a new account report folder. Go to share and then add the new fields. That's a lot of nothing. Create a new account report and add the new fields from the report builder. That's a possibility. From the customer report type, edit object relationships and then add new fields to the report. So we know we're going to need a custom report type because they're newly created fields, but we can use the pre-made one from the custom report type, edit the layout, and then add the new fields to the report, because we don't want to edit the objects and relationships like in D. So they're adding extra things. It sounds like it would be a good answer, but edit objects and relationships is unnecessary, and you can't do that in the report type. So that's just trying to trick you, because you know that you need to edit your layout and then add the new fields, but they added a little extra in there to see if you'll pick it, because the test is kind of tricky like that. So I'm going with A. Let's see. And we are correct. Zelda's Widgets has a social marketing team set up as a public group. All sales representatives would like to engage the social marketing team with an opportunity. What should the sales representative do to ensure the social marketing team can access the opportunity? Change the opportunity over to the public group, add a public group to the opportunity team, add the public group to the opportunity queue, or manual sharing. So this one, it's one of those ones where you just have to think about it for a second. So A, public groups cannot be owners of records. So that is a no. B, public groups are not shareable with opportunity teams. So that's also a no. Public groups cannot be part of a queue. So that's a no. So we're left with manual sharing. And again, some sales reps, they don't like doing things on their own, but it's super easy. They just share with the public group. Let's see if we are correct. And we are. Zelda's Widgets has a private sharing model on opportunities. Leadership has asked the administrator to create a new custom object that will track customer payment information and will link it to the opportunity. Only those with access to the opportunity should be able to see their records on the new object. What should be what should the administrator do to achieve this goal? So this has 4 very similar looking answers, but they're trying to trick you. A master detail relationship with criteria-based sharing rules, a lookup relationship with profile permissions, a master detail relationship with profile permissions, a lookup relationship with criteria-based sharing rules. So we know that it's not going to be a lookup. It needs to be a master detail relationship. So we know that B is out because it can't be a lookup. And D is out because it can't be a lookup. So a master detail relationship with criteria-based sharing rules, that wouldn't work in this situation. And I don't even think that's a thing. So a master detail relationship with profile permissions. So you would need the permission set to be able to see the rest of the relationship. So let's see if we are correct, and we are. So it is C, a master detail relationship with profile permissions. Again, this is a tricky question where Salesforce is trying to trick you on the exam by giving you everything looks like it could be right, but you just have to go back to your knowledge and think, okay, it has to be a master detail relationship, and how do you share what's in master detail relationships? It's not with sharing rules, it's with profile permissions. A sales executive at Zeldos wants to be notified whenever high-value opportunities are created for hot accounts. What should an administrator do to meet this requirement? Create an auto-response rule on the opportunity object. Create a validation rule that evaluates the account rating. Create a workflow rule on the opportunity object. Create an escalation rule based on the opportunity amount. So let's think about these for a second. The auto response rule on an opportunity object. So auto response rules lets you send out email responses whenever a lead or a case or submission is based on certain attributes. So that would send out an email based on attributes. Validation rule, which is C, takes the information or data that the user enters in a record, and if it doesn't meet certain standards that you had set as the admin, they cannot go on to the next step or save the record. So that has nothing to do with these hot accounts big deal alerts. So create a workflow rule on the opportunity object. That is something that would definitely work here. But let's check the last one. Create an escalation rule based on the opportunity. What you need to remember is escalation rules are for cases. The question says nothing about cases. It's about an opportunity, a high value opportunity. So you have to look at auto response rules, validation, workflow rules, and escalation. And the one that works for opportunities is a workflow rule on the opportunity object. So let's see if we are correct. And we are. Zelda's Widgets wants to allow potential customers to submit cases for technical inquiries. They do not have the resources to set up a call center, and they need to make support available through other means. Which options should they consider? Choose 2. Generate a web-to-case HTML code and add it to the website. Adding a link for auto-response rules for solutions. Implementing a Lightning Partner community with knowledge. Adding a link to a specific routing address for email to case. So what we know is that partner communities and knowledge articles will not submit a case. That one is definitely out. Adding a link to auto response rules for solutions. Here's the kicker with that one. It says auto response rules for solutions. That wouldn't work unless you had their email address and all of this stuff to create the auto response rules. So we do know that in Trailhead, we learned how to generate a case to HTML code and add it to our fake website. So we know that A will work. And D, once we have that HTML code, we will add it to the website and it will make a case to email. Case to email is a big thing. It will come up a few times probably on your examination. So just remember, you can create the HTML code. You don't even know how to you don't need to know how to write HTML. It will do it for you in your Salesforce app builder, and then you can add it to your website or give it to your website admin to add it for you. So we know it's going to be A and D. So we have A and D. So that was my first 10 Study Buddy questions. I will be posting hopefully more. I just wanted to dip my toe into YouTube and share my slide decks that I had made when I was practicing. I will also hopefully be adding tutorials on how to do things. I just wanted to start with my first video and see how this whole YouTube thing works. So if you watched it, thanks for watching.